Arsenal failed their test against Bayern Munich in their first attempt as they returned to the quarter-final stage of the UEFA Champions League for the first time in 14 years. What an incredible night of UEFA Champions League did we witness yesterday. Oh my God. Both games brilliant. Goals sensational. 3-3 for Real Madrid against Manchester City and a 2-all draw at the Emirates Stadium between Arsenal and Bayern Munich. Welcome back to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. Robert K. Sakos is my name. Yes, yesterday, what an incredible night it was for the UEFA Champions League at the Emirates Stadium. The neutrals clearly enjoyed this game, but it was a bit nail-biting for the Arsenal fans and perhaps for the Bayern Munich side, depending on how you witnessed the game. Yesterday, I thought that mistakes did cost Arsenal. It did show their lack of experience of playing at this stage. Arsenal's defensive side struggled a bit to cope with Bayern Munich's front line over the four attacking players in Leroy Sané, Harry Kane, Jamal Musiala, as well as Serge Gnabry. I thought they they struggled with them. Of course, like I'd predicted or anticipated in my preview of this particular fixture, that Thomas Tuchel will be combative in his approach to his game, and indeed he was combative. He chose to play a low block and try to exploit Arsenal on the counter-attack. He tried to frustrate Arsenal in that midfield, and indeed Leon Goretzka, was a bit of a thorn in Arsenal's foot. You thought that Jorginho and Declan Rice struggled to get a stronghold of that midfield, despite Arsenal's dominance in possession overall. That was about 60 to 40%. So Arsenal dominated the very early stages of the game and did continue to dominate, but the Bayern Munich had their moments here and there, and it is that domination that saw Arsenal get the first goal through Bukayo Saka, Ben White providing the assist, and it was 1-0, and you thought, yeah, Arsenal going to push for this one. And then again, they got another opportunity that fell to Ben White, although he fired that ball straight at Manuel Neuer. You thought if it had been one of the forward players or a midfielder, the result of that attempt would have been much different. But it was what it was. It was Ben White that found himself in that position. And then suddenly, of course, Bayern Munich play that long ball. David Raya is out of his goal, way up. Gabriel Magalhaes is in full control of the ball, but then he plays what appears to be a loose ball to Jakub Kiwior, who I thought did do enough to try and recover himself once he failed to, reach that ball. And then Bayern Munich return on the counter. Then Declan Rice does commit himself, leaving an opening for Leon Goretzka to run into, because the two centre-backs of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes were miles apart of each other. And then, of course, Serge Gnabry was running back, and, he's played the ball and scores. And it's 1-1. And then, more or less a similar moment, still a long ball, Bayern getting Arsenal on the counter. And Arsenal, I wouldn't say they were called flat-footed, but again, they were not in their proper shape at that stage of the game. So in the running back, William Saliba does, I think, foul Harry Kane, and then it's a penalty. So the Arsenal concede a penalty. Harry Kane steps up brilliantly, takes it, and it's 2-1. Went into halftime 2-1. So for all the good work that Arsenal had done, of course, they had failed to convert some of their chances, but I thought they were exploited. Their inexperience showed at this stage. And for those of you that remember the video I did about Arsenal fans being wrong about being excited about this particular fixture, we spoke about pedigree. We talked about Bayern Munich's experience at this level, despite being knocked out at the same stage for the last 3 consecutive years. So we spoke about a lot of factors, and you could see them yesterday. Personally, I was a bit disappointed, or sort of caught off guard, when Mikel Arteta fielded Jakub Kiwior in left back. Yes, he had been decent covering that position, especially in the absence of Alexander Zinchenko, and then of course Jurriën Timber and Takehiro Tomiyasu. He had been incredible, but I think he had not featured in the last 2 games. Maybe he was being rested for this particular one. But that notwithstanding, I had tipped that it would be Takahiro Tomiyasu that would start the game. But maybe he wasn't as fully fit as maybe Jakub Kivio, and it was no surprise that he was withdrawn at halftime because we had Leroy Sané give him a lot of trouble, and he turned him at one moment and literally left him for dead. So he did struggle in the game, I thought, and in the second half, Alexander Zichenko was introduced, not because he's defensively more astute than Jakub Kivio, but Mikel Arteta thought he could try and help in that inverted left back position to try and help Arsenal gain more, a little bit more momentum in midfield, and he tried to do that as much as possible. Although a couple of times I thought he overran the ball. Sometimes I thought, again, he delayed to make that pass when he should have. In different phases of the game, Arsenal lacked the electric pace that we know of them. I thought Gabriel Martinelli did struggle in the game. He didn't get a lot onto the ball, and then of course he was subsequently substituted for, I think, Leandro Trossard, and then Gabriel Jesus was also brought in for Jorginho. So, and it were those second half changes that actually impacted Arsenal's game and sort of saw them back into the game, because Gabriel Jesus provided the assist for Leandro Trossard's equalizer, and then of course eventually it finished 2-2. There were two penalty appeals or incidences in the game. One came, the appeal was for Bayern Munich because the referee whistles for the start of the game or the restart of the game, and the ball is with David Raya, who then passes it to Gabriel Magalhaes, and then Gabriel Magalhaes picks the ball, literally holds it with his hand to place it to then start it. But then it was after the whistle had gone. But the referee, you could see the referee sort of raise his arms in sort of wonder, trying to ask, what are you guys doing? The whistle has gone, play the ball. Of course, he let that fly. But you thought it was quite naive of Gabriel Magalhaes to do that. On another day, it would have been a penalty, very unquestionable, that would have been given, but the referee chose not to give it. And indeed, Thomas Tuchel did highlight that moment in the post-match press conference, saying that he doesn't know why the weren't awarded that penalty. And then, in the dying embers of the game, or the final minute of the game, Bukayo Saka sort of is fouled by Manuel Neuer, although from where I was standing, it looked like Bukayo Saka stuck his leg out there to clatter into Manuel Neuer, given the position he had put himself in, so as to try and win a penalty. Maybe another experienced player would have done differently, but I guess we'll never know. But for me, it showed again a certain lack of experience and composure in that moment. It was literally the final chance of the game. I thought he could have done better rather than trying to look for a penalty. But then also, another school of thought is that usually when a player is in such motion, given the pace he was moving at, Manuel Neuer didn't do anything to try to get out of the way. He stuck his leg out, so that argument is there. And it comes to the conclusion that should that have been given as a penalty, I do not think VAR would have done anything to convert it or to revert it. And then when it wasn't given, I guess VAR officials or even agreed with the referee of what he had seen, thinking that Bukayo Saka had stuck his other leg out to try and gain the advantage over Manuel Neuer. So the penalty wasn't awarded. Both sides will feel aggrieved in their respective instances that they didn't get those penalties. But if you were to ask of the two, which one was more a penalty, the other was a clear breach of rules for Gabriel Magalhaes, but again for Bukayo Saka, like I did say, if it had been given, I do not think VAR would have ruled it out. So what an incredible game of football we did have yesterday. I thought Bayern Munich were very composed. They were very organized defensively. Yes, they had their lapses in concentration that led to those two goals and giving away the other chances, because at the end of the day, it was 13 attempts for Arsenal as compared to Bayern Munich's 8. But then every time Bayern Munich went on the counter or broke through those defensive lines, you did feel that they were a bigger threat. We had another opportunity, I think it was for Leroy Sané, but Ben White did well enough to recover and, block that attempt. So one would argue that maybe Bayern Munich had the better chances. Then we had the Kingsley Coman come on in the second half, and he had an attempt on goal. The first one was saved by David Raya at the near post on the lower side, and then still in the later minutes of the game, he hit the woodwork there. He hit the upright when he sort of flicked that ball through David Wire's legs, and Arsenal survived that scare. So I did think that whereas Arsenal dominated the affairs in terms of being on the ball, in terms of possession, I did think that Bayern Munich had the more clear-cut chances to actually steal this game away. Uh, after after the first leg of this fixture, you do think that it's the home team that now will find themselves at the advantage when we go for the second leg, and that's for Bayern Munich in front of their 80,000 plus fans, maybe 3 or 2,000 Arsenal fans in there trying to make noise. Yesterday it was all full house for Arsenal, and I did see you could sort of sense that Arsenal crowd lacked the spark that could have been a provocation of the away fans. So that was sort of missing. Of course, they did boo the referee for refusing to give that foul against Bukayo Saka, let on or give that penalty. We also Mikel Arteta trying to appeal for it, but eventually it ended 2-2. But what an incredible game of football. Of course, my prediction had been a 2-0 victory for Arsenal, but Bayern Munich did find a way. Hurricane once again on target. I think he had scored 15 times against Arsenal in 20 meetings during his spell in the Premier League, and here he was again winning a penalty and then converting it. What I thought was a very good penalty, although David Wire fell way too quickly for that attempt. And then at the Santiago Bernabeu, very incredible piece of game there. Bernardo Silva opening the scoring for Manchester City, but then an own goal by Ruben Diaz had Real Madrid a draw level, and then Rodrigo Goes scored another brilliant goal to make it 2-1 for Madrid. And then, like you always know, Manchester City do know how to step up, and indeed they did step up. They did try to switch on that gear, and Phil Foden, what a wonderful strike, sweet left foot. He did strike that ball quite brilliantly to restore parity for Manchester City. And then the summer signing from RB Leipzig, Inyosco Vardiol, with an incredible strike to score his first Manchester City goal. He struck it well enough to hit the back of the net to make it 3-2. And then Vinicius Jr. providing the assist for what then turned out to be the equalizer by Federico Valverde, hitting that ball first time as soon as he met it, and it hit the bottom corner. So two brilliant games of football on the night of the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League that do continue today. But of course, I did think that the teams that were away yesterday did themselves huge favors not to lose, and those that were at home did themselves no favors going into the second leg without zero advantage. The beauty about it all is that we are long time done with away goals rule, so it is all back to square one for both teams. It will be about who exploits their opportunities come the second leg. That's next week. I know those fixtures do return. As for today, Atletico Madrid host Borussia Dortmund, while PSG will be at home against Barcelona. All games are kicking off at 10 p.m. there. Do not miss that incredible action or highly anticipated incredible action of another night of the UEFA Champions League. That's it for me. Thank you for taking the time to watch the channel and have a blessed or a happy Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim followers. Thank you all to those that have been watching, to those that have subscribed, to those that share our content, to those that comment. We do appreciate you so much, and have a wonderful rest of the week.